the number one nation's hottest real estate market for 2026. Anybody want to guess? Number one real estate market, 2026.
San Diego.
Dallas-Fort Worth. You nailed it. Way to go. Good job. Dallas-Fort Worth, DFW named nation's hottest real estate market for 2026. Now, that's obviously a prediction because it is, in fact, not yet 2026. But
hold on. Let me check something.
Urban Land Institute.
Not. It's November.
Urban Land Institute and PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. They do an emerging trends report, emerging trends in real estate for 2026. And they say DFW should be, statistically speaking, they're predicting DFW to be the number one hottest residential real estate market in 2026 based on investor interest and development prospects. Now, a lot of that really, in my opinion, isn't residential, but it does.
We have a lot of land.
It impacts residential. Well, not only do we have a lot of land, but we have eagerness in land development. Now, I don't know that we want to go there today on the show, but I'll tell you this. You can see these trends, and depending on whether you like it or not, you can decide if it's good or bad, but it's fact that you can see major development trends like so reliable go Phoenix, Dallas, Austin. Phoenix, Dallas, Austin. Now, Dallas is first a lot of the times, but it's interesting. Those are markets that have I'm sorry, I said Austin. I meant Atlanta.
Oh,
Phoenix, Dallas, Atlanta. Phoenix, Dallas, Atlanta. The reason are, statistically speaking, they're really, really, really good cross sections of the whole country. So if you're going to develop a concept, if you're going to put a bunch of venture capital behind a new product or a new service, you go test it in one location and get a feel for how the entire cross section of the different cultures, different socioeconomic groups. Anyway, all that said, this report puts DFW as number one for 2026. I think the market activity, the consumer confidence probably supports that. There are hotter real estate markets right now than DFW. There are faster moving real estate markets. There are markets where home values are increasing faster or decreasing less. But generally speaking, I would say DFW is still one of the more positive real estate markets, and I could definitely see this being true in 2026.
I like when the facts match my feelings.
Oh, isn't it nice to be affirmed?
Yeah, because you're like, this feels right. I believe this.
Well, and that's what I try to do here is we try to go, hey, that headline says this, and here's why we don't agree with that, often with other more local, more accurate data. But then there are times we're saying, look, we have a general feel for the market based on our last 45 transactions, which are not statistically relevant enough to say this is the market, but that aligns or doesn't align with our recent experience, I think is helpful to our viewers, our listeners, our friends, certainly our clients. Hey, Ian, if this first segment was sponsored, brought to us by, supported by someone, who would it be?
I would like to say it was brought to us, sponsored by, and supported by Patrick Gleros and his incredible team.
I'm glad you covered all those bases. Brought to us by, sponsored, supported.
Yep, all
Patrick
of it.
Gleros.
PatrickGleros.com is where you should go to start an application with Patrick. If you want to give him a call and ask some questions about the mortgage industry, you can do so, 972-386-1231. It's who I reach out to. It's who Todd reaches out to. It's how so many of our friends, family members, clients, both past and present, reach out to Patrick. NMLS number 308804, patrickgleros.com.
Nailed it. Okay. Listen, if you have questions about your real estate, all you've got to do is call or text us, 214-310-0008, 214-310-0008. You can call or text that number when we're off air, when we're not doing a radio show. All throughout the week, we are the Todd Tremonti home selling team. We've got a dozen or so of us who are fully committed full-time to delivering world-class care, concern, advocacy, leadership, guidance throughout the home buying and home selling process. We have a 7-step proprietary marketing system so that we can guarantee to sell your home over the average price and under the average time. We have a 13-point buyer program so that we can guarantee to save you at least $5,000 throughout the process of buying a home and get you access to homes that many, many others, including some agents and brokers, including most agents and brokers, are not even aware are out there. So access to availability, better deals when you're buying, more money faster when you're selling, and full-time, fully committed, world-class agents that I get to train. Ian helps train. Courtney gets to support and resource and create content and media for. The remainder of our staff and our agents who are full-time and specialized can and will and would love to earn your trust and serve you as you buy and sell homes between now and the end of the year, certainly all throughout 2026, and at any point in the future when you have real estate goals. All you got to do is call or text 214-310-0008 or online at
TheTrimonyTeam.com.
Now, Courtney, luxury is typically a big topic in DFW. It's a decent segment of our market, not as big as a lot of people think. We can define luxury in a lot of different ways. But would you believe me, yes or no, if I were to tell you, believe it or not, luxury homes in DFW offer more for your money than almost any other major market in the United States?
Well, I believe it. I think that's why Californians find this area so attractive. They're like, you can get how much for how much?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think a lot of us think of luxury as Highland Park or Preston Hollow or these incredible pockets of South Lake or the River District in Fort Worth. And
I just have thousands of Californians waking up in the morning, pulling out their phones, opening it up and going, you can get how much for how much?
You think I'm joking.
He thinks the Californians sound that way. What does he think the Texans sound?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all the same.
It's all the same.
Listen, I love the way you said that because that part is obvious, and it becomes more obvious if you define luxury the way most journalists and certainly industry experts do, which is typically 2 times the normal market average. So in DFW right now, if the market average, and it's very difficult to define that because you could say city of Dallas or Dallas area or city of Plano or Allen or Aledo or Benbrook or whatever. But DFW wide, our average is high 300s for the most part. If you were to double that, you're talking about $700,000 to $800,000, somewhere in that range. Now, that is a nice home. Most people would say, oh, yes, that's a very nice home. But a lot of people wouldn't say, oh, that's luxury. They would say, oh, that's like a nice home. But luxury is multiple millions of, grand estates and things. So realistically speaking, like you just said, someone from almost any other part of the country, not all, but almost, certainly major markets that offer all that Dallas-Fort Worth offers would be like, oh, wow, I can get a 4,000 square foot home and still not have to pay $4 million. I could get that for $800,000. I could get that for $1.2 million. That luxury then becomes, relative to other major markets, not all, but most, really, really attractive.
I would just like to say that on the opposite end of the spectrum, the 5 metros that offer the least amount of square footage for $1 million is Hawaii, San Jose, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York.
Yeah. What are y'all doing?
Now, I'll tell you, one of the things they're doing is living by the ocean.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Which is a factor here. So it's clearly, to your point,
just proving my point.
You get more home for your dollar here. You're not getting ocean views or mountains in your backyard.
That's going to cost you.
But this is why so many people are like, look, I want to live in Texas and travel and adventure to these other places. Cost of living, even though it's higher than it's been, maybe ever, depending on how you look at relative costs for most people, you're still able to live more affordably here and then travel and enjoy those other places in small sprints, as opposed to, I have a friend that I would say is very wealthy, who lived on Coronado Island, San Diego, for a long time in a house that was like 650 square feet, which, great. Like, listen, there's a lot that's attractive about a place with less maintenance. But he then moved to the the Nashville area, and, had a 3,000 square foot home or whatever for less than he was paying for 600 and something square feet in Coronado. They are very different places to live. But the point we're making is that's why Texas, specifically DFW, is such an attractive home base. And I think it's a great place to have adventure and fun and recreation too. But I can go to Colorado, I can go to Maine, I can go to San Diego and come back And net, my financial picture and my recreation is still pretty great. So
the closed price average, within 60 miles of Dallas is what I just ran.
Okay.
Anywhere from this year to date, anywhere as low as, I'm not going to include this month because it's not full, as low as 352,000 and as high as 371,000.
Yeah, mid to upper mid threes for your average. And again, Ian's giving you some qualifying language because averages can be deceiving. But yeah, mid to upper threes. Yeah, go do that on San Jose or San Diego. It's going to be a very, very different number. But DFW, a great place to be. And their summary statement was basically for a $1 million budget, DFW buyers are able to secure way more square footage than in many coastal markets. Sounds obvious, but that's where the bulk of these huge cities are. So compared to Chicago or Houston, cheaper than Chicago, about the same, maybe a little more than Houston. So again, Texas kind of checking the box of affordability, even though maybe more costly than it has been in quite a while. Some of that has to do with corporate relocations. Courtney, you were discussing this Y'all Street idea, which is really interesting how DFW is becoming sort of an economic powerhouse. And I say becoming, knowing that DFW has been a banking hub, an airline hub. It's certainly not new that DFW has a significant impact on the overall economy, that Texas has a massive impact on the United States economy, if not the global economy. If you took Texas and made it a country, it's like a top 20 economy in the world, maybe top 10, depending on what you're counting. But the reality of the situation is this Y'all Street idea is you've got Main Street, you've got Wall Street. Y'all Street is this Texas hub. And we're looking at a new stock market with the Texas stock market, Texas Stock Exchange. And then we're looking at a lot of things, corporate relocations being one of them, moving to the DFW area. In the banking industry, in the investment stock market realm, corporate headquarters, not just corporate relocations of talent, but corporate headquarters, new campuses. We're seeing a lot of crypto kind of movement in the DFW area. We're seeing a lot of data center driven, technology driven. For a long time, that 75 Central corridor of Richardson was called the Telecom Corridor. Collins Radio had a lot to do with that. And we're seeing these things have a resurgence, telecom especially. And this Y'all Street idea, basically that big finance is betting on DFW, that there's a lot of investment in DFW. Big financial firms, demand for housing is driven by that a lot, but also just kind of the transactional rate and the amount of investment money coming through is growing significantly. So these are all factors that really, really apply to your DFW lifestyle. So is where you get your home and auto insurance, right? Those things impact your economy, your economics, your finances, your budget. And we want you to reach out to DP Lambert, just the same way we do, dp.lambert@goosehead.com, dp.lambert@goosehead.com when you're checking your economy. What are you spending? What are you protecting? How are you investing? DP will make sure you get that right fit for yourself with your home and your automotive insurance. dp.lambert@goosehead.com. Lots to discuss today. If you have questions, holler at us, 214-310-0008. That's 214-310-0008. Or just Google us. Google my name. Spell it as best you can. You'll find over 800 five-star reviews. Read some of those. See if you think we're full of bull. And then reach out to us, and we'll talk. 214-310-0008.
Listen, we ring the bell around here all the time that fall is our favorite time to buy and sell. We're always talking about the strategy around that, but I'm just curious, like, does market activity slow down in the fall? Like, I know you love it, but...
Yeah, let me answer that and then ask you a question. The answer is yes, it does. We'll come back and explain it in a minute. But yes, overall market activity slows down in the fall almost every year. Are you tired of talking about it?
I think it's important.
Yeah, she didn't answer the question. The answer
is... and that's very, very dodging the answer.
Very political of her. The reality is, I mentioned this on the show last week. Look, we can get tired of talking about this, but we're going to keep talking about it because of how uncommon it is for home buyers, home sellers, homeowners, renters, for the typical consumer to see what an opportunity this is and also what a caution It is. So the answer to your question is, statistically speaking, does residential real estate activity slow down in the fall? Yes. A lot of people start thinking we're going to wait for spring and summer. It gets boring to explain it over and over. So we keep trying to find new ways, because it is really important, though, that people understand there's not a lot of financial logic to that. It's seasonal. It's holiday driven. It's weather driven. It's school driven. It's driven by the stereotypes. And we talk about it with our team members all the time. A lot of this has to do with daylight savings. It starts getting dark at 5:15. And so you don't go look at houses in the afternoon or the evening as much. And so fewer of them sell, because it does make sense not to go decide if you're going to fall in love with a house in the dark. Now, what we encourage people is this is a big decision. This is a big opportunity. Make some time during the day. People take off of work to get their hair cut or go to the dentist. I think it's more important to choose your home and to save $50,000 on it. So yes, things do slow down in the fall. That's the answer to the questions. Not every single year, not in every single market, but statistically, yes. Most years in most markets, fewer people take advantage of it. So it's less active. That doesn't mean prices tank or you can't sell a house. It just means there's less people buying, selling, and renting, which is why it's a great opportunity for you to buy or rent. And if you're selling, you need a unique strategy, but there is a unique strategy. There's always one that can be customized, and you can do really well also.
Now, if you're listening to that and you're like, well, if it slows down, then I should probably just wait. Let me just tell you that if you look back, I'm looked back over the last 5 years.
Yep.
You're talking about in the summer, the highs are anywhere in the 15 to 17,000 sales a month.
Yep.
And in the fall, you're in the 10 to 12.
Yeah.
That's still 10 to 12,000 home sales.
And statistically, it's not that different. You know, let's say 15 to 10 even is 50% less, but it's not half the market activity. It's 2/3 of the market activity that you had in the middle of summer.
Last year, the highest was 15. The low was 11.3. The year
January.
before, it was 15 in June, and the low was, I mean, it's so similar.
And these are thousands of homes sold. So you're still seeing 10 or 12,000 homes sold in your slower months in the fall or the winter. So what I want people to understand, and I've said this so many times here, that's why Courtney's getting tired of hearing it, that people expect...
She didn't say that.
People expect the real estate market to look like a traditional bell curve, where it's very, very low in January, February, starts to ramp up in March, April, May, and then it peaks June, July, August, then it starts to dive September, October, and then it's flat again, just nothing happening November, December. It's more like a bit of a molehill, kind of a rolling hill. It's never at the bottom. You got 9, 10, 11,000 homes being sold, and then that peaks up to 11, 12, 13, and then it gets to the top apex, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then sometimes it slides back down and it peaks back up. We have this early fall bounce a lot of times. We have talked about how back to school, the hottest months of the year, we do see this dip, resurgence, we see a good fall, and then we do see the lowest activity generally like late December, early January. But again, lowest doesn't mean dead. It doesn't mean nothing. And it means for a lot of us, tremendous opportunity, especially for buyers, but also for smart sellers, and especially if you're selling and buying. I want you to call me and we'll talk about the unique strategy of selling and buying, or buying and selling if you want to, during these so-called slow months. 214-310-0008. Courtney, what's that phone number again?
214-310-0008.
Nailed it.
Okay, well, I still get tax benefits if I buy late in the year.
The answer to your question is yes. You're not going to lose any tax benefits. Now, some people want to buy before the end of the year for tax purposes.
This is why you should have a kid at the end of the year. Benny's.
That's not why you should have a kid, but it may be a tiny part. But the idea is some people want that transaction. They want to spend that money, or they want to earn that money on one tax year versus another. But I think the question that a lot of people are asking is around property taxes. And the answer is your property taxes will be prorated to the day. So it it changes at one time of the year who pays it and who kind of prorates their portion to the other party. But the fact is, if I lived in the house for 364 days, that's how many days of taxes I'm going to pay. If you bought it for me and you lived in it for 1 day, you're going to pay 1 day of taxes. That part is not, that doesn't really change much. What could change is in the early part of the year, if I have not paid the bill yet and I sell to you, I will sell it to you and I'll say, and here's my money for the number of days I live there. And then you're going to pay the whole bill later. Or if you buy it really late in the year and I've already paid the bill, or it could even be early next year and I've already paid the bill for last year, there can be some proration the other way. That gets really annoying, so I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail. But basically, you're going to pay to the day how many days you live there. So that's the property tax piece. There's a bunch of proposed legislation in Texas right now to like literally get rid of income tax. State doesn't have income tax. But if the income taxes went away, there's a big proposal to get rid of property taxes. The government's going to get their revenue one way or the other. So if property taxes go away, which there's a lot about that I like, but then what's it going to be replaced with? It's probably going to be more of a consumption tax. There's a lot of debate about that. We don't need to try to be tax specialists and get into all that, but those are the things that are relevant to taxes when you're buying that house. Again, if you owned it and if it was your homestead, you could sell it as an individual and earn up to $250,000 and not have to pay any capital gains or income tax on that gain. If you're married, you can sell it and earn up to $500,000 of profit and not have to pay any capital gains or income tax on that earning. That part is protected. So taxes do matter when you're buying and selling. We're not tax specialists. We can help you talk about it and point you towards somebody that is a specialist.
Had a conversation with a friend up in Utah a week or two ago, and he was shocked at how much our property taxes are here.
Yeah. But
shocked.
Normally, and it's not always the case, but normally when someone is like, oh my gosh, and then you turn around and say, well, what are your state and local taxes?
Right.
And theirs are typically worse. But they would say, yeah, but mine's based on my income or my spending. Yours, like, you have no choice. And you have some choice to own or to own where and own at what value. But I agree, there's some real challenges with property taxes, and it can put some people, especially older folks, in tough situations. But that's kind of what's happening in the market right now, folks. One of the things that's happening that I need you to know about is our cereal drive. Courtney, let's let them know. Number one, food banks right now really, really need the shelves restocked. I don't really care how you feel about the government shutdown for the sake of today, but typically there are times of year right before the holidays, early in summer, where the food banks just need help anyway. And then based on the recent government shutdown, there are some implications there. But we are gathering boxes, whole, unopened boxes of cereal. Doesn't really matter which brand, but be a generous giver, give some good stuff. You can go multi-meal, that stuff will work, but get as much as you can. Let us know. You can bring cereal to our office, or if you're one of our clients and our friends and you're going to be at our Pi Day event this year, you could bring it there. Tell them a little bit more about talking with our partner and where we're going to take it and how much good's going to be done.
Yeah, we're partnering with Minnie's Food Pantry. And when I told them, hey, we just want to be singularly focused and get one thing that you really need, they were so excited because they're just desperate for cereal. They're just doing incredible work for our community and feeding Dallas. And it's awesome.
We love Minnie's Food Pantry. We love meeting the basic needs of our neighbors. So food is a basic need. We're going to collect cereal. You can call or text 214-310-0008 and we can help you do that. Welcome back, party people. Welcome back. What is your favorite cereal? What is your go-to cereal? If you're a healthy eater and you have a healthy cereal, text it to us. We're having an absolute knockdown, drag-out debate as we gather cereal for hungry North Texans, and we partner with Minnie's Food Pantry to put cereal on their shelves so that they can put it on the shelves of those who are food insecure, those in need of their next meal. I say this every year, but it's completely stupid to me that in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, anyone goes hungry. As a Christ follower, I know the poor will always be among us, the hungry will always be among us. But I want, and I hope you also want, to serve those around us, especially when you can do it for $7 or $8. If you can go buy a big box of cereal or 3 or 4 small boxes of cereal, or if you have the means to go buy a crate of cereal, a box of boxes of cereal, we want you to do that. You can drop it off at our office in Richardson, or you can, if you're one of our past clients and friends and you're going to be at our Pi Day event, you can bring it there. Otherwise, just call or text us, 214-310-0008, and we can talk smack about the best cereals, and we can also feed people in need here in DFW. Courtney, favorite cereal?
I mean, Golden Grams slap so hard.
I wasn't a big Golden Grams guy. Are they cinnamony or just like honey?
Honey.
It's just boring oats, but coated in honey.
Oh.
Not oats, like Chex Mix things.
You know, it's actually interesting that you say that. I'm not really sure what the flavor is.
Yeah. But it's delicious to you.
We don't have those in England.
Okay. What's your go-to cereal? Your favorite? One, Ian,
I love a bowl of dessert cereal.
One cereal or I'm hitting the mute button.
I have 5.
Okay.
You get one.
My 5 favorite growing up. Weetabix.
Okay, my favorite after Ian is Raisin Bran Crunch. It sounds boring and old manish.
I like some Raisin Bran.
But you throw that crunch in, and listen, let's all be honest with ourselves. That Raisin Bran's got 4 pounds of sugar in it, and it's delicious. I don't do a lot of cereal, but we've been talking about it so much around the office. I think I'm going to have to go get a box of Raisin Bran Crunch. Courtney, I need to ask you first. Do we give Ian, the Yanni Donnie, the aggravated Ian, the AI, do we give him a chance to say his other 4? This is a residential real estate radio show for Dallas-Fort Worth.
Well, you eat cereal in your home. Feels like a very important part of your day.
Okay, I'm talking to you, not him. I'm going to unmute.
Okay.
And only if he uses the remainder of his list to generate more cereal donations. Otherwise, he may not even be on the show next week. Use this wisely.
Okay. I'm curious as to how many of these you actually know as well. Because these are my English ones.
Ian's remaining 4 favorite cereals.
Did you hear the first one?
Hold on. Yeah. Ian's remaining 4 favorite cereals are brought to you by Trinity Home Advisors Home Warranty.
Let's go.
Ian's protecting his reputation on the show the same way Trinity Home Advisors Home Warranty can protect your home. TrinityHomeAdvisors.com.
Did you get Weetabix over here?
Yes, you've already
All right,
said it.
Weetabix.
We heard
Frosties.
Frosties.
What do we have that's like that?
Frosties. Frosted Flakes.
There you go. Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, those are legit.
Rice Krispies.
If you put a pound of
A
sugar
lot
on
of
it,
sugar on top of them. And then when the milk washes all the sugar off, you put more sugar on.
and you scoop it out of the bottom.
Crunchy Nut Cornflakes.
Whoa, what's that?
It's like, we'll talk after. Delicious. And Cocoa Pops.
Is that chocolate?
Yeah.
Cocoa Puffs
Cocoa
over
Puffs.
here.
Yeah.
Called them Pops. Isn't that weird? They're like, no, it's not a puff over here. It's a pop.
Right.
I'll find out what the Crunchy Nut Cornflakes is over here.
Okay.
Listen, before we transition to our area segment,
Okay.
I forgot about the headline that I wanted to hear from you about, which is the 50-year mortgages.
Ooh.
I feel like we can't not talk about them. That they're like being proposed as a way for Americans to afford home ownership. They feel scary.
There's a lot of ways I want to go with this. The fact, people are going to view this a lot of different ways. One view is, look, the president's trying to do something about housing affordability. Others are going to say, he's just putting his name on it. He's not the first person to come up with the idea of a longer term mortgage. Others are going to say it's a terrible, terrible, terrible idea when it comes to wise financial stewardship, because people will buy homes at age 40, have a 50-year mortgage, and they're not going to live to age 90. And you're just never going to be out of debt. You're never going to pay it off. You're not going to save enough. They're going to front load all the interest payments. Most of that is actually true, that it is an effort to get people into homes that otherwise maybe can't get into homes. And it's also, for a lot of people, probably not a great choice. So I'll simply say this. Most things in and of themselves are not good or bad. How we use them, or your heart towards them, or the power you give them is where things are good or bad. By the way, some things are good or evil, but a lot of things are not. And a mortgage and money are not. They're just tools and they're resources. But if people are using them to get into homes that they already couldn't afford and carry massive amounts of debt that they have literally maybe no plan of ever getting out of, that's going to harm a lot of people. If people are using them in a way that they could responsibly manage and potentially get out of, pay it off in an accelerated way, I can see how somebody could use this and use it wisely, steward it in a healthy way. I fear that it will hurt way more people than it will help. We'll see if it even makes it to legitimate lenders as an actual option. It's right now just kind of an idea that's been around forever, but is getting a lot of publicity because the president talked about it.
Couldn't you say the same thing about a 30-year loan, though? Like, who's going to stay in a home for 30 years and you're just going to carry debt? And
so let's do it. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to go fast and just here's the disclaimer. We're not going to completely cover this topic. No, you couldn't say the exact same things about it because if I buy a house at 40, most people are going to live till their late 60s or 70s. And so they could eventually see that paid off. The other thing is, when you look at a 30-year term, it's sort of a right fit product for a home, right? So the amount most people need to borrow on a home at a 30-year rate, therefore a 30-year rate determined payment, can be a reasonable portion of their income and their budget and allow for a future where you can be debt-free at the right season of life. If 50-year takes that timetable out so far, that would fit almost no one, and it would not be right fit for the amount of debt you would still be carrying at that later stage of life. Now, no one tells someone when you have to buy a house. I'm just using some ballpark, typical ages, typical terms. Now, the counter argument, which you're welcome to make if you want, is just because it's a 50-year note doesn't mean you have to keep it for 50 years. But most calculations would put the longer term of the loan, the lower the payment, but not proportionate. So when you do a 15 versus a 30, it's not half the payment.
Right.
But the repayment time is half. So you're paying way less interest, but you're not paying half the payment. So it's not as easy to say, couldn't you compare that? And I did go do some historical analysis on when the 30 became more popular. And by the way, you can get a bank to give you a 20 or a 21. It's not that these are the only options. It's that these are being promoted as potentially a solution to a problem that for a lot of people, it wouldn't solve the problem, but for some it would.
Right, because I guess the other argument would be if you can't get into a home with a 30, but if you're going to get a lower payment and you can get into a home with a 50, and you can therefore build some equity both through paying your mortgage, but also through what would hopefully be a home value increase, and you went ahead and sold it. Now, perhaps because you got in with the 50 and you sell your home, your next purchase could be on a 30 because you have additional money now.
Yeah. Because we care about our audience and we want to be clear and helpful and instructive, this is going to turn into a longer conversation.
Sure.
And I think it's fine. So here's what I would say about that. Many people don't know. At this table, we do know because we talk about it a lot. When you are repaying a mortgage, you are paying more interest than principal early on, meaning the bank is getting their profit back before you are reducing the amount you owe. That's an oversimplified explanation, but let's just say in the beginning that like 2/3 or 80% or maybe even 90% of your payment is going to pay the interest. That's the part where the bank is earning money, rightfully so, for lending you money. But you're paying them their earnings, the interest, way more than you're paying down the principal, which is the amount you borrowed. So on a 30-year mortgage, that number starts to tip towards more principal pay down than interest, like let's just say midway. It's not always midway into the loan. Now think about a 50-year. That midway point gets pushed out so far that what you said, it is less true that you're building more equity because you're going to build less equity for a longer time. So let's just say the average person wants to sell their house every 5 to 7 years, which that number's grown recently. Let's say it's 10. Well, with a 30-year, at 10 years, almost everybody in the United States has survived some ups and downs, and they've got enough equity that they've really built some real equity by 10 years. On a 50-year, I would argue that the vast majority of people will have built almost no equity at 10 years, even if the market was really favorable. Now, again, we're using averages, so you could still have done really, really well, but you are much more likely to have actually done really poorly, where you have paid a lot of money, more like a renter, because you're just paying vast amounts of interest, very, very little principal reduction, and you're now ready to go sell and you're not as free to sell. Or if you do sell, you have actually not built very much equity. So most of what you paid was basically rent. Not technically, but you paid it and you got almost none of it back. Yeah. So I'm not trying to be negative about this. I'm trying to be very realistic. And I'm actually making the extra effort to say that there are some scenarios where it could be good, because I don't think there's going to be very many, but there could be some. And the one I used yesterday on a coaching call with agents all over the country was, if I found $1 million house and I was able to buy it for $500,000, and the only way I could do that was with a 50-year mortgage, that would still be a good use of that, because I'm saving $500,000 on the value of the home. I can lose a little bit. I can be in a much less desirable financing situation, especially if I already know my exit plan, or I have $500,000 of equity to be flexible, where, oh no, in a panic moment, I can go sell it for $500 and still be even, or $600 and give up a ton of equity and still make money. Extreme scenario, but discounted value, I can be in a less desirable financial situation. But I just don't like debt much anyway. I'd use it as a tool, but I don't like to use it. It's burdensome. Bible says the borrower is slave to the lender. It doesn't mean slave in the traditional common sense, but it means they have control over you. And I want to be able to deploy my life in a way that glorifies the Lord and values what I value, not necessarily what a lender says I have to do. So
this segment was brought to you by Patrick Gleros and his team. Head over to patrickgleros.com where you can start an application on his website. You can give him a call, 972-386-1231. If you're looking to get a mortgage, refinance, you have questions on HELOCs or anything like that, reach out to Patrick. NMLS number 308804.
Okay, here's what I want to talk about, because we've been talking about really awesome outdoor fun, cool stuff to do outdoors all around DFW. And I want to talk about the Fort Worth side of the Metroplex. So if you are in Fort Worth, let us know what you think about these things. If you are considering a move to or within Fort Worth, here's some heads up on some of our favorite places to go be outdoors on the Fort Worth side of the Metroplex. Not necessarily city of, a lot of them are, but on the Fort Worth side of the Metroplex, places to go really enjoy the outdoors. We'll go round robin. What is your favorite?
Y'all,
one of your favorites? Looking
at this list, I'm like, I need to have a Fort Worth day with my fam.
Yep.
Well, I mean, downtown with the water gardens and the botanical gardens.
Do you think people know what the Fort Worth water gardens are?
No.
Garden of water.
I knew what it was, I thought. And then I did a little research for this, and I was like, oh, I had no idea that all that was going on.
Yes.
It's like a modern art, but not in a weird way. Water moving through creations, and is statues the right word?
Sure, but water fountains, essentially.
But not like just a normal fountain, like water moving through sculpture type stuff. Really cool. Sounds, sights, creativity, artistry. Very cool. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
You were saying the downtown area has the water gardens and the botanical gardens, right?
Yes. But am I correct about that? I guess I meant to say sort of like the stockyards.
Yeah, the in-town area.
You kind of do that whole lap.
Sorry, go ahead, Ian. I'll let you do it.
There's some good shops.
I'll let you do it.
Okay. I don't go to Fort Worth that often. Have you ever heard of the stockyards?
Yeah, he's real funny. I know, she stole your... It's okay. You're okay. You're okay.
We just had this conversation.
He's really upset that she took his idea.
Nobody ever listens to me.
Listen, children.
Ridiculous.
Put your seatbelt on. Okay, so Fort Worth Stockyards is cool. If you're from the area, you may think of that as like, well, that's kind of one of the postcard things we do. If you're from out of the area, it's really cool. It's basically a cattle drive through Old Town Fort Worth. You've got your brick cobblestone roads.
Bull riding machine.
You have legitimate like cattle being branded. You got people sorting cattle. You have the livestock show and the rodeo down there certain parts of the year. It's pretty neat. I think my favorite in-town Fort Worth outdoor thing is the zoo. And I know how predictable that sounds, but it's a very good zoo. Nationally recognized, internationally recognized as a really, really, really good zoo. And then you know me, I like backyards. I like nature. I like growing things. And zoos tend to do that stuff well. So you go for the animals, but you also see cool landscapes and unique...
Yeah,
I don't know if the right word is like
apart.
Animal scapes, you know, but you're like, oh, different environment for different animals. And the Fort Worth Zoo does that exceptionally well. It's very well maintained. It's clean. It's fun. They make it easy to get in and get out and to experience it completely. So I've got that going.
One of our agents told us about Wild Acre Brewing.
Oh, yeah.
That has this like gigantic backyard with playgrounds, a jumping pillow, pedal go-karts, a ton of outdoor seating. The food is awesome, and it's just very family friendly.
Number one, he's always going to refer to a brewery of some sort. We're a distillery. Number two, he's got young kiddos, so he's like the prototype for growing Fort Worth. And so, you've got breweries. Fort Worth is doing that really, really well. They've got a great barbecue scene. There's some good patios and things like that. The thing that I will say that the Fort Worth side is doing better than the Dallas side, and I know I'm going to get a bunch of heat on this, is making use of the Trinity River. So you've actually got some like kayaking and river activities, especially west of town in Fort Worth. Trinity Park is one of those deals. Great trails, great like on the water activities, paddleboarding, kayaking. It's not like whitewater rafting, but it's getting out on the water and enjoying nature from that perspective. And Fort Worth does a lot of that really well, all the way out to Weatherford. Again, we're saying the Fort Worth side of the Metroplex. But as you go west, and you got Eagle Mountain Lake, which there's some very, very cool stuff. Eagle Mountain Lake, and I know there's other lakes all the way out to Possum Kingdom and others. But Eagle Mountain does some really cool stuff that is really just 20 minutes from town, especially from the north side of town. So Fort Worth is doing a great job. And I would say the city, meaning like the city government, is making an effort for that to be a big deal. Even like downtown Sundance Square, they want people out walking, mingling, patio restaurants. But we're talking about some of the nature, some of the further out things as well. Go ahead.
Do you know what the zoomies are?
The zoomies?
The zoomies.
When your dog gets the zoomies.
Dog gets the zoomies.
They just do the little thing?
Oh, just running.
Sprint,
Just like going absolutely crazy.
We had a Bichon for a while, and they would call it the Bichon Buzz.
Our dog gets the zoomies like crazy. She's like 60 months old. In the Fort Worth Zoo, and if you saw it last week, little baby elephant gets the zoomies. You should look it up, people. It's really, really cute.
I did not see that, but people should. That's one of the rare things on the internet that may be wholesome and good for your heart. So enjoy that. I'm going to get email about that too. Eagle Mountain Lake, I said. Trinity Trail, I said. What else? Did we cover it all? Fort Worth is great. We flew through those, but I had the exact same thought, and I told my wife the same thing. I was like, look, we've been saying for a while now, it's been a while since we did this. We need to go spend a night in Fort Worth, go hit up some of these incredible Fort Worth restaurants, and then go spend some time outdoors, kind of taking full advantage. We live on the Dallas side, but we have a big chunk of our team on the Fort Worth side. We love Fort Worth. They have great friends in Fort Worth. We've actually had a ton of fun in Fort Worth. So
I've always wanted to stay at the Drover.
We had good friends stay there recently. Where did Carter and I stay?
Looks
Downtown
nice.
Recently. Anyway, go check out Fort Worth. Now, I will tell you this, Courtney. There's some great backyard stuffs in Fort Worth. When we start talking about acreage property, I always think about Benbrook, Aledo. I think about a lot of the Northwest Fort Worth communities, Grand Prairie, Grand Berry, which are on that side of things. Grand Prairie, I know you're kind of middle. And there's a ton. Like probably fair to say more than the Dallas side. 1 acre, 2 acre, 3 acre, 5 acre type developments, but also just a lot of those like, this is an area that's not master planned, but there's a bunch of acreage property, big backyard properties. And man, I get really excited. I don't get to just drive and explore as much over there. On this side, oftentimes I'll have an audio book in and I'll leave 45 minutes early to go pick our kids up, and I'll go try to find places I've never driven before. I don't get to do that as much in Fort Worth, but when I do, there's just so many great options to have a big backyard type property and be near Arlington and professional sports. Be near downtown Fort Worth and great food culture, great, like we were just talking about, microbreweries, distilleries. Be near that Western culture. Be near entertainment, concert venues. But very quickly feel like you're not all up in the city and have the space to grow something, to have privacy, to have a shop, to run a business, to be a great host, to nurture and cultivate friendships, relationships, family, and all of those things. So just another thing I love on the Fort Worth side of the Metroplex is the quantity and the quality of big backyard properties. And we have sold some absolutely gorgeous ones over there. Some on the water, some not so much. Alito is just absolutely exploding right now. Some of the larger lots in Walsh Ranch, very, very, very popular. We do quite a bit out in Weatherford, and then like between Weatherford and Fort Worth, just a lot of beautiful places to live, and a lot of folks that are in the area moving out, and a lot of folks that are not from the area that, again, we talked about this earlier, that are seeing the affordability of not necessarily a gigantic luxury house, although we sell a lot of beautiful homes on Acreage, but a beautiful luxury lifestyle property. Nice home, beautiful yard, incredible swimming pools, trails, shops, guest homes, all those sorts of benefits of the overall property for lifestyle value. You know, if people haven't checked out our YouTube channel, Courtney, tell them where they can go find big backyard stuff on the YouTubes.
You can go to YouTube at Big Backyards.
It's just at Big Backyards.
That's our handle. And we're just talking about living and enjoying and investing in your big backyard. We've got tons of great videos. We're watching your orchard grow through the years, and great lists and inspiration.
Yeah, we put out a lot of content lately on just how to enjoy the fall, how to enjoy the winter. What are those things to do to get ready? What are those things to do to kind of disproportionately enjoy your backyard this time of year when it feels good to be out there? Yep. How to protect against the coming rain and the mud that can come with that, what you can grow, you know, fire pit fun, outdoor kitchen, outdoor entertaining, all that good stuff. So check that out. Check that all out on YouTube. And if you are thinking or planning on buying, selling, or transferring ownership of property in any way, we need you to know about Republic Title. There is no better title company in the Metroplex that hires incredible people, trains them well, and really, truly cares for both sides of a transaction. The buyer, the seller, the agents, the lenders, the insurance agents, taxing authorities, surveyors. Regardless of what you're doing, if it relates in any way to exchanging, transferring ownership, transferring title, deed work, borrowing, refinancing, and of course, buying or selling residential real estate, we are here to help you at the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team, and Republic Title is as good as it gets when it comes to title work. RepublicTitle.com. If you're starting to think about 2026 and you have goals of buying, selling, or investing in real estate, we are already offering what we call free strategy sessions. You pay nothing. We gift you 30 to 90 minutes of the time of one of our full-time, fully dedicated, world-class real estate agent specialists. Those can happen on Zoom. They're best in person. If it's in person, we'll buy you a cup of coffee or a Coke or a Topo Chico, whatever you're into. All you have to do is text the word strategy to 214-310-0008. That's 214-310-0008.
Happy birthday!
Oh, there's Ian's nephews. Look at
What's
that.
up, boys?
ToddTremontiTeam.com.